So we start with intention. Intention we've been talking about recently is having three parts, which is knowing what the road is. We're doing the three-pointed object road, which is we're working with the experiences of breathing in, breathing out, and in between breaths body. That's what the road is. Where it goes, it takes you to calm, focused, attentive presence. So focused, attentive presence, we sort of collect calm as we go along. And then there's the decision to actually get in the car and go. So it's what the road is, where it goes, and then making the decision to go down the road. Right? So that's our intention. So taking a moment to make that intention, to set it. For the next 20 minutes or so, you actually are going to do the practice. I'm going to do the practice. That's right. And then establishing a posture. So the posture is the ready posture. It's that upright, awake, ready in terms of meditation, upright, awake, aligned. Aligned we don't talk about very much, but you're not like sitting like this, right? Where your back is twisted or, you know, it's like you're nice upright, head over the shoulders. Shoulders aren't too far forward, they're not too far back. So there's sort of like a dynamic rest but ready, right? Taking a moment to feel that from the inside. I'm going to invite everybody to put themselves back on mute if you haven't. So we bring our attention to the breath coming in, the breath going out, and in between breaths, the body, and we begin. So I almost always start with stage one, less and less of stage one as we go further along in the program, but for this practice, about 5 minutes of stage one. Stage one focuses on noticing distraction and using the steering wheel of attention to come back. So eyes on the road, hands on the wheel. Maybe a smile in your heart, maybe not, maybe a tear in your heart. It's a lot of sadness, and you can also have joy. They can be traveling companions. Welcome, Susan. I see you just came in. We've just started practicing, so we're practicing stage one. Working with the three-pointed object, breath coming in, breath going out, in between breaths body. Noticing when our attention steers away from that and we gently steer back. Hopefully that was enough time to establish some settled noticing in the practice, driving down the road, eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, noticing distraction and using the steering wheel of attention to come back. This is your time to practice. You can stay at stage 1 if you wish, or if you wanted to move to stage 2, this is a good time. So in stage 2, we add in the gas pedal. Eyes are still on the road, hands are still on the wheel, and we're using the gas pedal to add more energy into the practice. And the specific energy we're adding is more energy into connecting with the object of breathing in, breathing out, and in between breaths body. There's so much going on as you breathe in, so there's so much to be with, you could say to attend to. But you're in the experience, you're not watching yourself breathe in. It's just as you breathe in, there's so much going on. Letting yourself experience, letting your attention rest in all the richness of that experience. And then as you breathe out, also so much going on. The lungs getting smaller, the body contracting, the temperature of the air going out, all the feelings and thoughts that are happening. So much to be with. And then in between breaths, body. And there's a lot going on in the body. It's very rich. So letting your attention just rest with body. If something calls out, I realize I have an itchy left eye, that's what called out. Or if nothing calls out and you're just resting, then calm is calling out. So we're connecting more intimately, more closely. We're more engaged with the experiences of breathing in, breathing out, and in between breaths, body. Touching in with your posture, maintaining the ready posture. It's pretty much guaranteed if your attention has slipped and you're no longer practicing, your posture will have slipped. If you're maintaining the posture, it's easier to stay on the road. Eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, foot on the gas. Because there is more to pay attention to, you're more engaged with the object, it's easier to stay with the object. So in stage 1, if a beginner could stay 20%, and we're most of us way past beginners, but this is just an idea. If someone could stay 20% with just noticing and steering back, then maybe you could stay 50% of the time with a deeper, more close engagement. So the question as you drive would be, are you on the road and in your lane more often? Or are you wavering just as much or maybe even more than stage 1? It would be good to know. And only you will know. Good upright posture, eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, foot on the gas. So much to be with the experiences of breathing in, and then the experiences of breathing out, and in between with the experience of body. Sometimes I call this the quick rear view mirror check, which is just what's it feel like to be you? What's your weather as you're doing this? And then back to eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, foot on the gas. This is about focused, attentive presence. The knowing how it feels to be doing it is presence, part of presence. There's more to presence than that, but it opens the door. Allow the sound of the bell to call your awareness back from the space of calm abiding to how you normally hold your attention. Look around, trigger the reorienting reflex, smile if you have to, or if you want to. I have a few thoughts before opening this up for discussion. The first is, I like to practice, and this practice is offered in something I think of as temple style. And that's different than Zendo style or retreat center style, where everybody has to be in the room. And I start at 8 o'clock when we do the early practice, 8 Atlantic. But you come in when you come in, which is how it is in a temple or in a monastery. Like, not everybody makes it at the beginning. They start on time, and then people come. And if for some reason you needed to go, you need to go, right? But better to stay for the whole thing. It's not completely quiet. It's not like a Hollywood retreat where everything is perfect and quiet and there's like an orchid in the front, and it's just like, that's wonderful if you can do it. But if you have a regular life and you have a car driving by outside, or the phone rings, which I think it did yesterday in the second practice, and it was like, that was like, can I hold my attention while the phone's ringing? And that's actually a gift for your practice. So if there are upsets, right, or when it's not exactly designer perfect, that's a gift. Can you stay on the road? You're getting a lot to work with, right? So that was my first observation. And then I made a remark as we were practicing that sadness and joy might be together. And that's maybe an observation from Buddhist philosophy and I like in the metaphor that we're using of driving the car, they might be like your two kids in the back seat. I enjoy joy more than I enjoy sadness, but I don't throw Billy out the back because he's less enjoyable than Sally, right? They're my children, right? Sadness and joy are part of my life. And so, just letting there be room for that, especially you're doing the weather check-in. It could be rainy, could be foggy, could be sunny. Let the whole thing in. This is the practice of presence. We're trying to be real as we bring ourselves to attentive, focused, alert presence. At least I'm trying to be real. So I hope some of that's helpful. I'm going to remove the pin, and it would be wonderful if anybody has a thought, especially if you have a thought about how this practice has gone. Are you more on the road than last week this time? The same? Less? I'd be interested in all of it. So the floor is open for questions and discussion. Oh, and that's a hint of, like, tonight we'll start with what's changed. So it's a sort of a prompt to begin to think about. If nothing comes to mind right now, we'll be doing a round of what's different after a week of doing stage 2 when we have our talk tonight. Oscar.
Sorry, before I forget. So you say something that touched home in longer sitting sessions, like a laptop or something. It had happened to me that my attention slips and I notice I'm not longer practicing. I'm just sitting, trying to endure pain or boredom or whatever it is. What would be your recommendation in that kind of situation?
We have a slogan for this in the Shambhala community: fresh start. So it's
Okay.
almost like you pulled over in your driving metaphor to the side of the road. You're parked for a couple of minutes, except this would not be a couple of minutes long. Like, let yourself relax and then start over.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Like,
then, the goal is to extend attention. Like, so if we were giving it a goal, this is not how I normally talk about this. At at stage 4, you might find yourself able to stay for up to 20 minutes of focused, attentive presence. But if you do 5 minutes and then it's just like excruciating, right? Well, then pause and try another 5 minutes. And sooner or later, you'll find you can do 7, right? And we'll be
okay.
slowly building, right?
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Welcome. Cynthia, it
That's
looked like
right.
you were gonna raise your hand, and you could be
Yes,
next.
yes. I wanted to say as to what has changed. Um, Warts and hair and moles of this practice, it's more pleasurable for me.
Oh,
So
okay.
in an odd way, and practice seems to go faster. So I take
Mhm.
that as progress.
Okay. Good. Gary, I see your hand.
Yeah, I tried your while I was driving the car, that recommendation a few times, and it does remind me to be present without like the radio on. I do that sometimes anyway, but I like the silence. But yeah, I was practicing while I was driving the car and just being present and focusing on the road and ahead. Yeah, I like that. Kind of reinforces what I'm trying to accomplish with this meditation practice.
That's great. That's making me smile. Thank you. Anyone else want to jump in? Cynthia, you need to leave. Okay, we'll be sending. I will be sending the link later for tonight. 8 a.m., 8 p.m., 8:15 p.m. Atlantic, so 7:15 p.m. Eastern. The time changes are getting me. Well, friends, that might be enough, unless somebody has something jumping out wants to be talked about.
Just just quickly, I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking, Brian, but I
It's okay.
recognize somewhere along the line, I was an addictions counselor for
Mhm,
25 years. And
mhm,
somewhere in that period, I remember thinking one time, I am the library. And I realized my inner world, I would bounce theories and things. There's thousands of those cross. Anyway, I would use myself as the guinea pig.
mhm.
See, does that work for me? I didn't know the Buddha had suggested that a long time ago, that go in, find your own truth inside yourself. But
Yeah.
I come to appreciate that aspect of his teachings. But I got thinking when we were talking about the BC thing, I didn't go into it a lot, just heard it on the news. But I realized when I stayed home because of COVID one year, I got very depressed. I
Mhm,
wasn't officially diagnosed with SAD, seasonal
mhm,
affective disorder, but I know when I'm one of the reasons I come down to Florida is the sunshine, and mostly my mood stays up here. And I
mhm,
know I'm
mhm.
dreading when if I can't do it, because when I do stay in Canada with the cold weather or the lack of sunshine, because I even got one of those lights one time.
Mhm, mhm.
So yeah, so I realized, oh yes, from experience that lack of it's not scientific mind, it's just my experience, but it's true for me. If I don't get a certain degree of sunlight, or yeah, lack of sunlight, I do get in the doldrums, and I can go into depression
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah,
So it's
so
very good to know that about yourself, and also good, in some ways. This is not a this is not an absolute thing, but I find this practice helps if I'm not clinically depressed. If I'm seasonally depressed, that's different, right? If you're clinically depressed, you probably need to go talk to a counselor, and maybe medication will help, maybe it won't. That's a whole other discussion. But if you're just feeling the blues, you're feeling the down for the winter, you're just feeling sad, this can help. It's
yes,
it's, it's not going to fix it, because sometimes life just serves you the blues. I feel like that should be a song.
yeah,
Sometimes life just serves you the blues. And, this was the Buddha's thing, right?
yeah.
Um, that you
I
couldn't you could say that his first teaching was sometimes life serves you the blues. It's
yeah,
often translated as suffering, but we
yeah.
could be more poetic.
I think there is some truth in what you're saying.
Yeah,
To For sure, it depends on some
yeah,
life circumstances, but there's also a chemical component in the mix.
there is, which
Not
is
clinical depression. But you can improve by
yeah,
meditation. Could
yeah,
improve, lift up So you
Yeah.
won't be so depressed,
Yeah.
but there's still that little chemical
Yeah.
component. Yeah.
So Gary, we've sort of driven off the road a little bit, and we're in an interesting place to have the discussion. But I can see people are signing off probably to go about the rest of their day. So it would be good to officially say, see you later. I love practicing with you all. And I hope to see most of you, if not all of you, tonight for Talk 3.
Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome, Gary. You're welcome, all.
Adios.
Adios. Hasta pronto.
And Tony's going to Mexico.